Um, what resources are there for children? Apart, is it, if a child is listening to this, that's in, just happens to be listening to this on YouTube or somewhere and thinks, I want to get out of here, but I'm so scared because, either mommy or daddy or whoever it is, not going to say anything, or I'm going to lose them, because as children, that's our only security. We've never lived on our own. We don't know what it's like. This is all we've known in our lives. Should they, and then there's also the repercussion as a child, because you're scared if you tell someone at school and they go tell your parents, then you get home that night, you're going to get a even bigger beating, and they're going to tell you talk one more time. So if there's a child listening to this that's thinking, I want to get out of this situation, what should they be doing? Should they be telling someone at school and saying, I don't want to go back to that house anymore? Because once you do it, the perpetrator just gets worse, like what you said earlier. So if they make that decision, should they be like, so teacher, this is what happened, but I don't want to go back, call child services, or what should they be doing?
So this is a very tough subject, Amanda. And if you are a child listening and you are experiencing abuse at home, really the only way to be able to escape that is to report it. And that is the scariest thing, like you said, because you're scared if you tell somebody and it gets back to your parents and you go home, then you're abused even worse that night or for future beatings. My suggestion would be teachers, yes, police officers as well. So being children, you see, meet police, going up to them and asking them for help, creating a relationship with an adult who doesn't hurt you, that you can trust, is probably another good option. A lot of those adults are going to be teachers, social workers, counselors at school. So calling CPS is very important, and you can do that as well. But your parents are going to fight for you, right? And then if you are placed back in that home, you need to be able to show some type of proof. So if you are being beaten, I would start taking pictures of some of the wounds, because a lot of that is evidence. And if you have evidence in a court of law, typically they won't place you back in that abusive home. So it's a good idea. I know when I was beat multiple times, I ended up taking pictures. And in my book, there are a couple of pictures where you see me black and blue and puffed up face, and I can't even open my eyes. And if I didn't have those photographs, then I wouldn't have been able to move forward against him in a court of law.
Yeah, so that's so important. The evidence is so important, you know what I mean? And I guess, if you're a child listening to it, one of the most important things is, if you even feel like you can't tell your teachers, call Child Protection Services or find the nearest police station and just walk in and, tell, and they will listen, because that's their job,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
to,
Here in America, definitely do that.
Mhm.
Overseas, it's a lot more
Of
difficult, but
course,
here
of
in the
course.
United States, yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely do that because it is their job. It is their job to protect you. And that book that I was talking about, A Child Called It, it's horrendous what some adults actually do to children. And it is so important to get out of that situation. So I'm glad that we talked about that. A lot of podcasts don't ask me about child abuse situations. It's always women. So this is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought it was something important to talk about, because I know it happens a lot. And yeah, and I've had people that's happened to who've become friends of mine. So I know how hard it can be, especially as a child, because you don't know anything. These are the people supposed to protect you, and they're not there for you. So it's really, really important. The work you do is just so amazing. And that said, is there any other thing we should be thinking about touching on? Because I still think the shame factor, and one thing I want to say actually is how important it is, if you've had this story in your life and you've overcome it, to make your voice be known, like what you're saying, because it's only by people hearing those voices that, we can try and end this type of thing.
Amanda, would it be okay if I give away a gift?
Of course, definitely.
Okay, great. Um, so
Hmm.
I run my nonprofit, but I also created a coaching and different programs, right? Coaching programs, speaking programs, et cetera, et cetera. And we developed a system, a 5-step system to help people overcome challenges. And in order to speak up, you have to really recognize what it is that you have gone through and then move past that by changing your thought process, elevating your feelings, using specific words that lead to action steps. Those action steps could be therapy, traditional and non-traditional. Non-traditional could look like dance, could look like movement, could look like meditation, making sure that you take care of yourself in order for you to be able to get to a place where you can speak up. Now, if you're here in the United States listening to this, if you text the word unite, UNITE, again, unite, to 26786, again, text unite to 26786, you'll receive a 6-page PDF with information on how to overcome challenges, whether it is depression, anxiety, domestic abuse, child abuse. The first step, like I said, is recognition, because you have to first recognize what you've gone through. And then we talk about thoughts and feelings and words and action steps. But it really does help a lot of our clients to overcome where they are. I do a lot of private coaching, and one of my former clients, she was abused as a child, sexually abused, and she didn't know how to talk about it. And she knew that she had to. She also, her sister was killed by her sister's husband, so domestic violence. She had a lot of trauma that happened to her. And when we started coaching, the first step was her to realize what she'd gone through and then start speaking up about it. And once she started speaking up, the healing began. So we teach the philosophy, you have to feel in order to heal, which means you have to feel through the pain, feel through those emotions. When I was rehearsing my play, But I Love Him, it was so therapeutic. It really was. And people would tell me, oh, that must be therapeutic. And I was like, screw you. No, you're wrong. Looking back on it, it was, though. And I ended up rehearsing and beating myself up on stage and reliving those horrible experiences, the sexual violence that happened to me. And then once I started reliving, then I was like, I can let go of it. It's like a fist. You just start to let go. And when I started to let go, other possibilities opened up for me, platforms, helping other people. And we help to teach you to use your experience to then create a business, a mission, a movement, a ministry, a nonprofit, whatever it is that you want to do, know that you can do it no matter what experience that you've been through, because your voice matters.
Hi, guys, it's Amanda from Beauty and the Beef podcast. I hope you've enjoyed listening to all our episodes. So, if you enjoy the podcast, you can support us by liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. If you're listening to this anywhere else, you can also just like us. We like to know what your opinion is on any of our topics. So please comment, or you can contact us at beautyandthebeat@gmail.com.